Welcome everyone to the October 21st, 2024 regular meeting of the board for the Lower Merion School Directors. We will begin tonight's meeting recognizing the Lower Merion and Harriton High School students on their exceptional academic achievements, on the high score of the PSAT, and the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. This is an exciting way to bring and kick off this school board meeting. It is always so wonderful for us to be able to recognize why we're here, all of you, and to really just be so proud and honored to be in your presence of all the great work you've done. So to get us really started, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Dr. Johnson, who's the principal of Lower Merion High School.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Dr. Johnson.
Hey, let's try one more time. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Dr. Johnson.
All right. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Dr. Johnson. I'm the proud principal here at Lower Merion High School, and I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Mr. Warshauer, who's the principal at Harriton High School. And we're here tonight to honor remarkable accomplishment of academic success from students from both Harriton and Lower Merion. Students, we applaud your success this evening and admire your dedication to academic excellence. You should be extremely proud of this designation, as it shows that you have an exceptional academic potential. I'm sure you realize that achievements such as this are not made possible without the support of the many people who love and care about you, your families, your teachers, loved ones, and although you have a lot of support around you, we recognize that the final effort and achievement is all yours. It would be a nice gesture for you to thank those who are most responsible, who have helped you along the way to prepare you to perform so well. I'm sure that they will take great pride in your achievements. On behalf of Lower Merion and Harriton High School, please accept our congratulations and good wishes. I will begin by calling the names of tonight's Lower Merion High School honorees. We have some honorees who were not able to be with us this evening. I will call all names of all honorees regardless of attendance. When you hear your name, please come up to receive your certificate and various handshakes as well. Alexander Ahose. We're going to do it. 2 handshakes and a dap. Georgia Bond. Georgia's not here. Calliope Borden. Devin Christini. Penelope Cohen. You go, girl. Ian Cole. Sam Donaghy. Emily Donahue. Eli Dresnan. Micah Dubnoff. Talia Earl. Andrew Fan. Julia Foreman. Samantha Gronick. You go, girl. Matthew Hartstein. Simon Harwood. William Hilwick. Felix Kohler. Jack Kuwait. Anthony Labad. Ichin Yong. Clyde McAllister. Charles McCauley. Julia Mintz. Alan Morris. Daniel Altman. David Oprea. Jamie Oswald. Brandon Park. Miro Raj. Joy Rao. Hugo Sanchez. Ezra Shapiro. Andrew Slattery. Piper Slogoff. Andrew Stern. Oliver Steffel. Paul Stricker. Gabriel Swarbrick. Nathaniel Warren. Cammie Wendelkin. Nicholas Wilson. Kevin Wu. Jennifer Du Yang. Bola Ying. And Ronan Savan. I will now turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Warshauer from Harriton High School.
You want to take these? No, you're good. Thank you. All right, for Harriton High School, we have Cecilia Apostol. Congratulations, Cecilia. Arthur Armang. Samuel Bay. Keep going. Congratulations, Samuel. Nina Cantor. Congratulations, Nina. Sartak Chaudhuri. Jane Chen. Jonathan Chen. Ella Dotan. Congratulations. Ray Emma. Congratulations. Catherine Fan. Garrett Giordano. Grace Heller. Congratulations. Roha Herial. Jade Ho. Congratulations. Sophia Wang. Cameron Huntington. Rebecca Ives. Alexandra Juhas. Jack Callan. Ethan Carton. Benjamin McElwain. Congratulations. Jacob Myers. Margot Norman. Julian Pace. Kyler Parker. Congratulations, Kyler. Ariana Pavri. Philippos Pratsos. Adrian Proka. Andrew Prosnitz. Will Reisner. As well. Eileen Wrong. Ethan Rudderman. Marlena Suter. Layla Stein. Jacob Summer. Christopher Sun. Lucy Sun. Andrew Wald. We also have Lucy Wood, William Zhu, and Yuan Wat Yang. Thank you. Congratulations, students.
We're just going to pause a minute to take pictures and reset everything, so please get your cameras out, take lots of pictures.
Oh, you can say something.
No, I'm just getting my phone.
Anyone that's staying for the meeting and they want to sign in to speak, the sign-in sheets are over here to my left, to your right.
Yeah, you can go out that way. Yeah, but you probably have to go around to get back in. Or just not.
Anyone that's still here and you know you want to speak during public recognition, please, the sign-in sheets over here to my left, your right, on the stage over here.
Sorry.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm just making sure I know how to use my mic in here. So welcome everybody. And everything's thumbs up with our tech team, wonderful. So again, if you're just joining us, welcome to our October 21st, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of the School District of Lower Merion. We are going to get started and to walk through kind of the typical rundown. This meeting is also available via Zoom webinar, so some of you are joining us via Zoom webinar. It's live stream and it is being recorded. The recording also includes sound as well as video. All participants joining via the webinar who wish to make public comment will need to use the chat feature, which will be enabled during the audience recognition time period on the agenda. So keep your ideas flowing, write them down, and then we'll give you some time to talk and ask questions then. If you are attending this meeting in person, you should be aware of that other attendees may be recording this meeting as permitted by the Sunshine Act, which means that any remarks that you make at your seat or at the podium, even those made at your seat, will be recorded by other members, could be recorded by other members of the public. The board believes that it is the best interest and the best interests of all students of the district to hear comments from district residents and taxpayers. An opportunity will be given later in the meeting for public comment, both in person and through the chat feature as described earlier, which will be read by Solicitor Roos. If you need to sign up for the comment in person, please see Denise at the left-hand end of our table right over there. And when we are making public comment, they are making it at the podium. Is that correct, Denise? Right? Yes. Just to clarify, if you make public comment, please go to the podium so we can all hear you. The board strives to be respectful to everybody in here, but we do, and we want to hear your voice and your questions and your concerns for us, but the time is limited to 3 minutes, so you will see a timer in the chat that allows everybody to enter their questions, but all comments read via chat or spoken at the podium is a 3-minute limit. So let's get started. I'm going to do a real quick President's Update, which is a new thing for us that we're trying to add and making sure that everybody's on the same page with some of the big ideas and the big priorities that we're moving forward as a district. I will at times be asking some of my other members and colleagues at the table to join in, but we will try to keep this brief. It will also be in Making Practices public on the website tomorrow, and as always, Ms. Buckman does an amazing job kind of summarizing it and getting it out, and we'll be on the recording. So number one of the big things that you all know that we're working on and a huge priority for this board right now is this superintendent search. So I wanted to do a quick update on the superintendent search. We have closed the search. It closed on October 11th, and right now the team is looking through the applications. We feel like it was a robust application process, and we're really hoping through this work we will find a great leader. And we are also doing our work through the focus groups that we worked with the MCIU, but also in community conversations about how do we get the best leader, what are the skills that we're looking for, and what is really the best fit for Lower Merion. So as we go through this process, we'll be starting in the interview process and moving through. We will try to keep all communications open and public. We can't always tell you everything, but we can at least keep you abreast of what's happening first, second, and third. Todd, our other board member, is working with me on this process. He is away today on a professional meeting, but he'll be joining us back tomorrow for those conversations. The other thing that I really wanted to bring up that we've had conversations over the last 2 months that many of our community have been very concerned about is really strengthening this board and the trust that we all have with each other, as well as the trust that we have with our community. So on September 16th, we shared with you that we would be doing some work with the community, some work with each other on the board, and some work really analyzing our school district around difficult conversations, around equity, around evaluating data to really understand how we're moving our kids forward. So one of the first things that we've been doing is looking about what type of training does the board need to ensure that we fully understand all of our history in America, but also all of our community members and how we all come to the table with different identities, different lived experiences, and really learn from that and build a stronger team. So the board has done some work in researching different organizations that can help us do that work well. So one of the things that we agreed upon was we wanted to do an anti-Semitism training. We wanted to do some work around racial equity and anti-racism, and then also difficult and divisive conversations. So we started this with research in different organizations around anti-Semitism training. We've listened to community members, we've done our own research, and we've listened to each other. Now I'm working on this project with Jason, so if you don't mind, Jason, which I don't know where you are, there you are, I'm gonna turn it over to you to just give us a little feedback of some of the research you've done with organizations that we're working with around anti-Semitism training.
Sure. So over the last month, I've spoken to 4 different organizations that focus on different types of anti-Semitism training, trying to get an understanding of what type of services they provide, and in the format, I've been preparing that and putting that together, getting also proposals and looking at previous presentations that they may have provided to get a feel to make sure that it's the right fit for us. And then the next step will be to bring that back to you and to the rest of the board so that we can determine what would be the best fit for our needs.
Great. One of the organizations that we're looking at, and most of what I'm going to share with you tonight is the work that we're doing as a board and as a board with the community and really focusing on our work. But one of the organizations that we're really looking forward to partnering with in that work is the Weissman Museum. They are great leaders in this field and great leaders in our community as well. And I know that the school district is also exploring ways that our students and our teachers can engage in that conversation. So we're setting that up probably in the next few weeks, really locking that down and moving forward. Megan, was there anything you wanted to share on that front? I know this is about a board update, but give you an opportunity.
I'd like to just share, I think it's a nice opportunity to have alignment, K-12 and with our board and therefore with the community to find a local resource like the Weissman Museum that's available to us, that's working with us to co-create content that will be meaningful, I think, to our students and staff. It aligns, we believe, nicely with some of the work we've done around residencies. Dare I jump into that discussion right now, but know that they're aligned to field trip experiences that we want to have meaningful connections with our curriculum. So it's important that our teachers and our staff are involved in that process. So we're looking forward to continuing and developing that partnership with the Weitzman as well.
Thank you. The other work that we're looking into, and this is probably going to take us a little bit longer, probably lead into November, towards the end of November, is really looking at racial equity and looking at evaluation practices around that work. So I'm working with my colleague Anna on that front to really explore and examine a few different organizations that have skills in this, a few that are local and a few that are national. I will make sure that by the next meeting I'll give you a strong update on who we're honing in on in that area. We don't ever see that any of these trainings will be a one and done, a 2-hour training and everything is clear and transparent, but we do believe that work is going to be continuous. And we do believe that work will not just be with the board, but will also be with community members. So that leads me to the next thing that we talked about on September 16th is how do we engage with the larger community, the board, the larger community around some of these topics and around the topics that are really difficult and hard to have, not just in our community, but in our entire country right now. So we are really honored to be working with a community group that is a coalition of interfaith group, local clergy, and community organizations. There's just beginning to do that work and a lot of organization around that, but their goal is to really lead those community dialogues and have the board be representatives there, both as your neighbor and as a board member, so we can learn together and learn how do we move us all forward. Those 3 big areas are really the focus of so much of our work, really looking at the next superintendent and how are they going to fit into our district and lead our district and our kids to what we know we can all achieve. 2, what is the personal work the board needs to do to learn, to understand, and to really hear those different perspectives and to learn more. And 3, how do we engage in that larger community and have a dialogue with each other? Those 3 big areas are where we're moving these pieces forward. But we also know that it's also about building trust and building understanding with each other. And that happens not just through trainings and community discussions, but on a day-to-day basis as well. So some of the work that we're looking at and the school leadership team is really driving it is how can we ensure that the day-to-day work of the schools is supported by the board, is supported by the community, and continues to move forward. There's a lot that the school team is doing. It was amazing tonight that we got to start with the kids and how impressive our kids are. But we need to make sure that all of our kids get what they need, and all of our kids have we have high expectations for all of our kids. So that also means supporting our administration, supporting our teachers, and really helping that school team move through this tricky transition. I mean, school start times, full day K, all of this work. This is a lot, singularly. This is even more together. So we know with that work, there's been a lot of community conversations and a lot of community questions. So we are trying to do our best to be as responsive and as timely as possible with those community questions. And I wanted to just take a beat and talk about how do we respond to community questions so the process was transparent. So one, if a comment comes in to Acting Superintendent Schaefer, Acting Superintendent Schaefer is going to respond to it. If it comes in through community comments, know that every single one of our board members is reading those community comments, and depending on who it's directed to, it might be responded to by Acting Superintendent Schaefer, it may be responded to by Amy Buckman, Denise LePere. Different people will respond to it depending on the question that it was. But know that all of the board members are reading not just the question, but also the response. If you would like to ask a question directly, you can always email the board directly. As the president, I am more than likely going to be the one to respond, and we can go back and forth in conversations, but I am also trying to make sure we're transparent about when we're having these conversations out in a public setting. So it might be a question that's answered with, oh, we're gonna talk about that at the policy meeting. Oh, we're gonna talk about that at the school board meeting, so please come. If there's ever follow-up that you need or clarification, please let us know. Between Ms. Buckman and I, we can make sure that you get the video, you get the transcript. Ms. Schaefer can give you more information. We really are trying to act like a team to answer your questions. Sometimes only 2 members of the team answer, but we want you to know we're all reading and we're all really listening to what you're saying. Anything else? I was going to say Dr. Schaefer. I'm just going to promote you right now. Superintendent Schaefer, that you'd like to share? You don't have to. No.
Are you finished?
I'm finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can just
Great.
piggyback on some of your comments. I think speaking for the district, the administration, be presumptive to speak for all staff, but know that one of the messages that I shared the first time I stepped into this role, and I shared with staff this time around, is a priority is organizational health. I talk about that. I talk about what that means to me, and the idea of having a really successful transition is important to all of us. We want good leadership. We want our community to have trust in what we do, and we want our staff to feel good about coming to work and building relationships with students. But to be able to model that as a community is really important. And you know, I hope, you know, certainly with the work that the board is doing, I'm fully in support of that in ways that we can help with that, but certainly building those bridges with the community is necessary. I shared one of the things that I get to do is meet with a lot of groups as well, and one of the groups that I met with recently was the Interschool Council, and they host a roundtable for parents and guardians that are able to attend. And during that time, it really gave me an opportunity to say something that I probably hadn't said this way before, but really made me stop and think about the words that I had just used, which is the better that adults are at having good relationships with each other is we're going to position all of us to really hear authentic student voice. Because I have teenagers, so I know that sometimes what gets said at school or what happens at school gets lost in translation when it comes home. But when I feel like I have a good relationship and am open to hearing what, the adults that work with my kids say, like that helps us both support kids in really important ways. So I think even though sometimes we talk about these are adult problems, we're talking about adults, it has a direct impact on students. So I'm hopeful that we'll continue to move forward and listen to each other and continue to do that in service of all of our children here in the district. So I appreciate the efforts of the board and look forward to supporting that work. We've been certainly busy in terms of getting school started with new initiatives and again, the objective around organizational health, I think about stability, I think about steadying the ship, I think about making sure that our staff is getting what they need, our students are getting what they need. So sometimes when we hear, why haven't you done X yet or recently, know that it's not because we're not listening. We are hearing a lot of voices and we take all of those voices into consideration. We think about what is the appropriate professional learning, what is the appropriate intervention. So know that it's important that you keep sharing with us, and in this moment that we're really working hard to make sure that your child's experience is not, doesn't feel disrupted, feels normal, that kids are largely happy. I say that knowing that that's not an everyday experience for every child, and I wish that it was, but that's what we aim for, and I thank all of our staff for contributing to those efforts in a time of transition for all of us. And I want to note, just in terms of turning it back over to Board President Saltner, and Acting Superintendent Schaefer is a lot to say, so I'm okay with just Megan or Schaefer or whatever is easiest. But I did want to note on the agenda this evening the passing of Liz Friedman, who is a long-term teacher in the district at Gladwin Elementary, 25 years of service, recently retired. Our heart breaks for the situation, but importantly, acknowledging her dedication to students over all these years, the students of Lower Merion School District, and certainly her spirit lives throughout those children and the staff that continue to serve the Gladwin community. So wanted to acknowledge that this evening before I turned it over to Dr. Saltner.
Thank you very much. So let's begin with committee reports. So October 11th was the policy committee meeting. Anna, would you like, Melanie? One of you is going to do an update. Thank you.
We make you bob and weave. Thanks. In the reports for the policy meeting, we had a number of ARs and policies we had to review for the federal Title IX procedure change. So that included policy in AR 235, policy 301, and for policy AR 262, homeless students, we reviewed that to align with PA Code 1331. Those were all ones went all for move forward. We recommended the policies for adoption and we reviewed the ARs. First policy, for the first reading, we had the policy AR and for equity, which we recommended to move forward, and this was in follow-up to our last month's full board meeting in which we discussed about moving the definitions to the AR, and that's the changes that were made to the policy. We also looked at AR 302, which again was another Title IX change, and AR 201, admissions for beginners, which was the regards to students, kindergarten students who are coming in and may have gone to kindergarten in other private schools, and the policies around what their admittance and the AR regarding their admittance. And then for future discussion, there's enrollment of students, non-residents, and assignment of students within the districts are all coming up at future meetings. So that's it for the policy meeting. The next meeting is on November 1st, that's what I was. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shannon, will you do curriculum committee update?
Absolutely, I will. So we met the curriculum committee on October 14th. And first we had a presentation from one of our high school teachers, Mr. Cooperstein, I'm sorry, I'm sure it's one of those two, and discussed the addition of 2 new courses of music technology 4 and 5. Music Tech 3 was added, or 2 and 3, I believe, were added last year, and they've been really successful. So Mr. Cooperstein came and talked to us about that, and then talked to us about how the course would be expanded, and also what updates would be needed in terms of potentially renovating the physical items in the lab, computers, and different sized piano keyboards to facilitate more students and ease of use, and the potential schedules for rolling out those. Oh, and also licenses for new software and new computers and new keyboards. Am I forgetting anything? I think that's all the new things. And that is still being worked on, the planning for how that will be proposed to the board, because it was not a small budget item to do both of those labs at both high schools. So I believe we will be discussing that further at next month's meeting. We got a lot of reverb on these today. The next we reviewed the contracts for Studies Weekly, which is a program that supplies social news articles for students primarily in 3rd and 4th grade, and it's used for ELA and particularly in 4th grade for the Pennsylvania History Unit. Then Mr. Weinstein gave us a presentation on the summer school programs and just some fun facts. We had 18 different summer school programs, and we had 1,996 students participating. They participated in programs like SPIES. In extended school year, we had several math bridges through the middle school years, and we had some jump starts. We also had additional programs for things like I believe our most enrolled program is the summer health program and the development of LMSD's own online health course offering is still in the works but not complete. Last but not least, we received a very quick hit on the comprehensive plan timeline, and the comprehensive plan is a piece of paperwork that the district has to provide to the state of Pennsylvania on a several years basis. It's a 3-year cycle, I believe, and this is our year that we have to do it. So it was a very quick little update for the board on the schedule. And so the next meeting of the curriculum committee will be November 11th at 7 p.m., not in this room, but in the executive boardroom in the administrative building.
Thank you very much. And then October 17th with the Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. Who would like to do that update? Great, thank you, Jason.
There we go. So we had a wonderful meeting. It was a lot of new things that we talked about. First thing was we talked about the list of bills. 2 things to highlight is that there was a lot of athletic costs for referees and some other costs that were unusual. We also saw that the Whistler-Perstein amount was significant last month, so we're going to sit down with the solicitor to get an idea of, better understanding of the costs associated with that. We also talked about the amendment to the right at school, incorporating the changes that we're having this year versus the previous years, because we don't have the wraparound kindergarten program. And then finally, we had a great presentation from Mr. Copeland about playgrounds, and what it was an analysis of the current facilities at all of the different elementary schools, and he set forth a description of the different playgrounds and what would the cost be and what would the need be for upgrading each of them. And for next steps, as a committee, what we were looking into was having conversation with the local commissioners about possibly pairing up Also looking into grants to see about possibilities of funding it. Also community reaction, and to really find out about accessibility. We want to make sure that if we're going to invest in new playgrounds in the elementary schools, we want to make, or the elementary schools that need it, we want to make sure that they're accessible for all of our children, because right now some of those playgrounds are not accessible to all of our children. And then potentially prioritizing and then touring the sites and kind of determining how we can allocate, if possible, money over the next couple of years to start the project, or at least start moving forward some of these playground ideas. So it was great, really productive, really encourage everyone to take a look at the presentation that was given. And our next meeting is scheduled for November 14th. We hope to see everyone there. On Zoom. Thank you.
We have some questions from the board.
I just have a question why the depth of playgrounds was being presented in a facilities and purchasing committee meeting. That seems out of the purview when the superintendent hasn't put that forth to the full board or discussed in public. It seems inappropriate that that would be the place that that was taking place, and biased in terms of how we were moving forward initiatives without clear criteria.
The intent of looking at it more comprehensively was just to take an initial inventory of our playgrounds. We do know that some need to be updated. We've talked about the accessibility component of updating our playgrounds. So it was an initial just preview presentation to the committee about the status or current status of playgrounds.
I understand that, and I'm completely for accessibility. I think that I am concerned that that was discussed and presented and is being presented in this platform as a recommendation or with any perspective on that as criteria, since the whole board hasn't received it. It's preferential, just how in the curriculum committee, Shana just talked about a lot of equipment that would be needed in the future. It's not up to the curriculum committee solely to recommend and or sanction or ask for an audit of music equipment across the entire district in the curriculum committee. So for the board president and superintendent to consider for the future, I would like to see criteria put forth for how we are preferencing and completing audits of specific projects that any individual board member might seem more important than some of the other projects that may be more important for the community.
I think facilities and purchasing is kind of where you would, I mean, I don't know where else you would talk about purchasing and using the facilities like playgrounds if you weren't talking about it during the facilities and purchasing meeting. So I think this was something that was an initiative that had started back with Dr. Yanni when there was a need, since some of our elementary schools actually have caution tape around the elementary schools playgrounds, and children can't go outside to actually utilize the resources that we have. So that was an initiative that had started several months ago, almost a year ago, and what we were looking for was a presentation to kind of look at where we are currently and what we would need to go forward, so that potentially as a board we could look at next steps. And that's what we're doing. We're preparing it so that ultimately as a board we can make a determination as to what, if anything, we should do next. But I think that there was a push and a understanding from both the administration as well as the committee itself that playgrounds are something that have unfortunately been neglected for many years, and something that needs to be tended to, whether it be this year, next year, 10 years from now, but something that we should be looking at going forward to address those issues and allow children to be able to utilize those facilities.
With all due respect, you've made it very clear, Mr. Herman, that your personal preference and project is the playgrounds. And so using your committee chairship in order to give preferential treatment to have an audit done and presented, and you can present it however you want, is not the work of the board, and nor is it the work of the facilities or purchasing commitment to put forth certain projects that should get audited or explored in advance of others that have been long before when you might have deemed it to be the most important. So my request is still ongoing, whether we can disagree. It doesn't make any sense why that project would go in advance of others for an audit when there are other pressing issues that also have to do with student access, equity, and consideration for safety across the entire district. Playgrounds is not the only one.
I don't think anyone's saying that, and I think, just so you understand, this was an initiative that it was an initiative that all of us on the committee had asked for more information on. And I think beyond us, I think many board members have been asking questions about getting an idea of what the current status of the playgrounds are and where we go from here. So
I'd like to see the board minutes when that was brought up, and I can ask Superintendent Schaefer to help bring that up, because we didn't vote on that as a board. You moved the project forward solely.
So as we move through this, I think one of the, as our public looks at this, and what's being brought up is what are the needs of the community, or what are the needs of the school district across the board, and then how do we evaluate those needs so they're done in a way that we can kind of see the forest for the trees around the entire school district. So as we look at those two pieces, we can also look at the same time as what is the purpose of the facilities and purchasing meeting, and what is the purpose of the finance meeting. And in the past, I have to be honest with you, I did think that there needs to be a stronger connection between the two, and they might even need to be could join together as one. I have to be honest, through these conversations, I actually think they work really well as two separate committees. One saying, what is the day-to-day facility needs of the site and what are we paying for? And then the other one saying, okay, financially, how are we gonna afford these things? So as we go through the list of needs that we hear from all different members of the community to different levels, I do think moving forward, we have to understand what we're hearing from community members and what's coming to these meetings, but at the same time have, for lack of a better word, a rubric that we follow that puts these in priorities and then looks at that capital plan. So I look forward to kind of thinking through how all 9 of us with the leadership at the school can say, how do we put this forward? So it is, what do we need, when do we need it, and where does it go? Does it go this year, does it go in 10 years? And can move that forward so we get what we need, but we're doing a holistic view of it. So these conversations are really healthy, and I think it is very good that you're both asking each other deep questions about how did we get here, and why do we put these things on the table? And we need to make sure that we're putting on the table, and that reasoning is not just transparent to us, but it's transparent to the public too. So this is really important, and we have so many things that we do need to fix. And it is really fun to talk about playgrounds, but just you wait till we start talking about roofs, because we need those too. So we'll be probably pushing up, and I try not to dive into this too quickly without all of our board chairs for finance here, but I really want to push up the conversation around capital project planning. So where is my operations team? Somewhere out over there. We're talking about you, so we'll get that moving and talk about how do we really systematically say what are the criteria and how do we put it at different levels, and then how do we get community input about what the needs are too. Thank you both. Sorry, Go ahead, Sarah.
I just wanted to respond and clarify regarding the music technology courses. That was not a presentation that either Shana or I specifically requested.
I'm just going to pause for a minute and just so we're jumping back one committee report to curriculum.
Curriculum and responding to Ms. Shurak's.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Go for it.
It was a presentation that was brought up because a teacher was interested in creating additional courses. So the information regarding the costs and the expansion of the classrooms was just part of the presentation that Shana was summarizing.
Yeah, that was exactly my point, Sarah. Then you didn't further offer and ask that person to go on your own accord and dive into what would be the cost, what would be the implementation, what would be all of those pieces. That's exactly my point. Every conversation we have here about finances has trade-offs. So to use the facilities and purchasing committee to further a personal interest or an interest that only committee members have deemed as interesting versus bringing that to the whole board with criteria and a rubric to move forward so there's transparency in the district is exactly my problem.
Okay, any other comments from the committee? I mean, the board? Okay, sorry. I feel like I needed a Diet Coke and didn't want to take it tonight. It's time for audience recognition. At this time, we will hear public comment. If you would like to speak tonight at tonight's meeting and have not signed up with Ms. LaPere, please do so now. For those of you joining us via webinar, the chat feature will now be open and you will see a 10-minute timer appear on your screen. You can submit your comments and/or questions via the chat feature. Please be sure to begin with your full name and where you reside in the district. Just the general town is fine, Narberth, Gladwin, wherever you are coming from. Ms. LaPere, do we have any in-person comments for tonight's meeting?
Yes, we do. I have Adrian Seltzer and then Ruth Jenkins.
Just leave it down? Can you? It's very sad. Hi, Adrian Seltzer, Wynwood. I am here to make a joint statement from the NAACP Mainline Branch and the Jewish Community Relations Council, the JCRC, of the Jewish Federation of Greater Philadelphia. The NAACP Mainline Branch and the JCRC of the Jewish Federation of Greater Philadelphia stand united in our mission to oppose hate and foster mutual respect and understanding among residents of Lower Merion, Narberth, and beyond. We are writing today to insist Lower Merion School District and Board more effectively address ongoing community concerns related to social inclusion, hate speech, diversity, and equitable education outcomes for our children. Okay, and I really appreciate, this is an aside, I really appreciated the comments that were made at the beginning of the meeting. We acknowledge, we also ask that these critical efforts not be undermined by divisive rhetoric or misunderstandings. We acknowledge that recent discussions during the school board meetings have caused pain and frustrations within our communities. Remarks made about Jewish people and their perceived proximity to whiteness have understandably caused offense. At the same time, we recognize the deep frustration within the Black community regarding systemic inequities and the need for policies that address long-standing disparities in education. We are particularly concerned by any attempt to divide or pit our communities against one another. Both anti-Semitism and racism are real, persistent threats that must be addressed in solidarity. As the Jewish community faces a clear rise in anti-Semitic incidents following the events of October 7th, and the Black community continues to confront systemic barriers, we stand united in our shared commitment to equity and justice for all. As Americans, our diversity is a source of strength, and the pursuit of equity and belonging must not be viewed as a zero-sum game. Efforts to foster justice and inclusion for any group should be welcomed and not seen as a threat to others. Our communities have a rich history of collaboration in the fight against injustice. By engaging in open, honest dialogue, we can continue to build a stronger, more inclusive society. We will not allow divisive moments to derail the essential work of addressing inequity, inequality, and discrimination, be it in our schools or beyond. We hope this incident serves as a reminder of the importance of education, engagement, and continued dialogue around racism, anti-Semitism, and other forms of discrimination. By standing united, we can create lasting change and ensure that all students, families, and community members are respected and valued. We are continuing and hope you
Adrian,
join.
I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off because I really appreciate what you're saying, but your time is up. I have to be
I am
fair.
speaking for more than one person, so can I have another 12 seconds?
No, we cannot. We have to follow official policy. No, but you can pick up from where she left off on the paper. That's how you do it, filibuster it. Sorry, I can't. We have to follow the rules.
Okay, then can I come back later as myself?
Sorry, what? Excuse me, I couldn't hear you.
I was wondering if I could come back later as myself.
I believe the rule is each person gets 3 minutes to speak because it's a fair and equitable way to make sure everybody gets a voice to be heard. So
Because I know, like in for the township, if you're speaking for a community, for an organization, you get a couple more minutes.
I do not believe that's how it works here. Solicitor Ruse, is that correct? It's one person?
That's correct, but it's fine if the next speaker finishes
Yeah,
the remarks.
that's how you can do it.
Yep.
Okay.
We look forward.
Yeah, we are.
Ruth Jenkins from Wynwood. I'm continuing Adrian's.
Thing that I have with lines and so.
Okay. It's a big mess over here, but I'm going to figure it out. We are looking forward to continuing our efforts and hope you will join to promote unity, understanding, and progress. We encourage everyone in the Lower Merion School District to join us in this mission. Done? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And I believe she still has 2 minutes left if you want to ask anything else, Ruth.
Okay. Couple of things. We've been working on equity policy for years and years. I just uncovered all of my documents from 6 years ago when we first started this based on the Black Lives Matter situation. It's something that is dynamic and needs constant monitoring and revision and discussion and openly with the students. I just took a course at Lower Merion High School, adult school, on the Merchant of Venice and the anti-Semitism that existed in ancient Venice and before. And also reading Langston Hughes. And so this all should be part of an open dialogue. As far as the playgrounds are concerned, that's also an equity issue. We have full-day kindergarten. We need playgrounds for these children. They can't not have playgrounds. It's part of their education. Playing is an important part of learning and getting along with each other, and it's an equity issue. We have a personal issue in my neighborhood with the parents who are lining up on Owen to pick up their kids at the high school, causing a tremendous traffic jam coming up from Montgomery Avenue, making a left on Owen, and you can't get into our neighborhood. So I hope that that can be remedied. I think that's it for one other thing. The website. I go onto the website to look for committee meetings, and I can't get on there. They're closed. And then Abby helped me with getting onto some meetings through some very nefarious ways. And but the thing that really is important is that we should have easy access to these meetings, and we don't. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to clarify, it was not nefarious. Not nefarious. It was really just guidance. Convoluted, yes, but not nefarious.
Are there any more in-person public comments?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Sure, go
Yes,
right
we
ahead.
have one more. Sorry about that. You can come on up. If you can just sign in as well. When you get done, you can sign in.
Okay, no problem.
you.
Thank you. Good evening. Nigeria James from Wynwood. Thank you. I am a parent of a senior and my last year here. I'm at Harriton High School. My daughter has shared with me a concern that she had, and I wanted to bring to your attention, two actually. Buses being overcrowded. I'm not sure if that's something that you all know about, and maybe I missed an email about what to expect on the bus. She's not happy to be on the bus. She's a senior, so it's already a bad situation. And being three in the chair It's not really something that she looked forward to. So I'm not sure if that's something that you are aware of or if that's a concern that we should be made aware of. Just wanted to make sure you knew about that. And the other thing is that she is concerned about the bathrooms. They seem to be, and I've heard that this has been a policy that anybody can use a bathroom, and although you have gender-neutral bathrooms, that anybody can be in the bathroom. And when I asked the school about it, they told me that there are restaurants where men and women can use the same bathroom. That is true. I've been in there, I have no problem. The question that I have is that the stalls are different, and my daughter expressed concern with kids reaching over the stalls and taking pictures and that whole thing. So I am concerned that although I have no problem with them sharing the bathroom, it is concerning a bit the fact that the bathrooms are not built for privacy is an issue. So I'm not sure if that was something that was considered by the board or by the schools, but I would like to put that on the table, that if we can give some consideration to privacy across the board for everyone who's using the bathroom, regardless of who's next to you, you should feel secure from top to bottom, ceiling to floor, that your privacy is yours and that you don't have to feel threatened at any point in time with somebody having a camera or phone under the stall or over. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we prepared for
Okay,
online?
that's it now.
Online comments? Solicitor Bruce?
Yes, there are 5. First is Janine Davis. No, not this one. Bryn Mawr. Would like the board to reconsider its decision not to make care meetings available via Zoom. In the interest of transparency and hearing from as many voices as possible, the meetings should be available via Zoom. I understand that some sensitive things may be shared in care meetings, but that is true of many other district meetings. If in fact the board wants to hear from the community, to support the community and be supported by the community, the care meetings should be open to more public access, particularly in light of the fact that the meetings are held at the end of most workdays, making it difficult for interested parents to attend. Allison Lazovitz, Gladwin. I'm sorry, Allison Lazovitz Simpson, Gladwin. Okay. Currently, I see the administration of our district acting similarly to private equity and driving a wedge between the interests of students and their inability to invest resources to improve the curriculum. Everyone with moderate to complex issues not supported by a resource or life skills is offered instructional support lab. The families suffering the most cannot afford advocates to support them. Others are financially struggling to pay out of pocket for an education at AIM Academy or Benchmark due to the lack of an evidence-based system and curriculum as mandated by law. This process leads to inappropriate educational placements and labels in children. Kids who learn effortlessly without explicit instruction can thrive, and then many still require tutors and extra support. We have also prioritized the brightest in this district over those struggling. Kids in advanced math receive extra supports in a math lab, while those struggling in regular math get labeled as work avoidant or withdrawn. The inequality in supports for those earning basic on our standardized exams compared to advanced is alarming. The school board and directors need to meet with our advocates and figure out ways to improve so all students can benefit. Kate Mayer and Maria Vetter have offered to guide the district toward this evidence-based programming. Federal law requires this in both the regular and special education curriculum. As a result of not having appropriate systems in place, we end up having to fight evaluations that don't adequately explain the needs of our children, since they would then have to admit they cannot offer appropriate placement. Parents then have to pay for a private evaluation just to refute the story they tried to portray. One advocate said, "Do you know how many times I've had to tell private schools to ignore the school evaluation and focus on the private one? You know what Lower Merion does." We need the district's psychology team to meet with those in the private sector to improve their approach based on evidence-based educational and medical guidelines. I think we should make it imperative that this meeting with Kate Mayer, Maria Vetter, and the psychologists in the private sector occur with both the board and the district this month on an ongoing basis with a plan to remediate this crucial issue. Only then can we start to make this district equitable for all. Next is Kim Lippitz, Narberth. Will anti-Semitism training be mandatory or optional? If optional, can you explain why? Thank you for looking into updating playgrounds as they are long overdue, and I certainly hope they are a priority. Michelle Vessel Gladwin. Megan Schaefer and Carrie Saltner spoke about building bridges and trust with the community. I would like to know how we can do this when there's still the elephant in the room being Kimberly Garrison's anti-Semitic remarks, lack of empathy, professionalism, or remorse for offending many in the Jewish community. You expect us to let it go without you publicly addressing it, and no consequences have been made. 2, Anna Shurek attacking and accusing fellow board members for promoting their own agenda is disgusting and hypocritical when she only promotes DEI, and that is what she does for a living. She isn't bringing this community together or making it better with her hostility. 3, Adrienne Seltzer does not speak or represent the entire Jewish community. She is out of touch with what is happening in our schools and only trying to promote her own agenda. Next, last speaker, Michelle McGill, Bala Kinwood. I am so confused. At the last policy committee, there was a change to make public comment 3 minutes. It was clear that the entire board was not aware of this, but tonight we are being told that people are making decisions that are not being brought to the entire board. Please help me understand the difference. I saw a video of a parent crying on one of our playgrounds because her son, who is in a wheelchair, cannot access the playground. We have a school that does not even have a playground. I would assume that playgrounds are a priority because we have been having this conversation for years. Please figure out how to come together so you can do what's best for all of our children. This is ridiculous. That's all the public comments.
All right, I am going to try to respond to a few of these that I can today, and then certainly, as we've said, those that I can't respond to today, we'll take back and get answers for either next time or we'll follow up individually. Regarding Harriton, I will look into the bus situation as well as the restrooms. I'm not sure that they're designed any differently than any of our schools, so it's something I can take back to the team and we can talk about a little bit more. I know that's certainly a concern. Cameras, phones, everywhere is a concern for us and certainly in restrooms, so I'll look into that. The question about care meetings, we've had some conversation. We know that there's been some ask for to be able to participate by Zoom. Just to go back a little bit, we've talked previously, sometimes it's not the best dynamic to do for care, just based on experience. We've also tried to shift the time before to see if we can get more participation. I know that, I mean, we tried it like once, it didn't really pan out, so we might look at that again. At this point, where we are with the care planning, it's still under consideration, knowing that parts of those meetings sometimes are personal, stories and sharing and building relationships, and that's hard to do via Zoom or virtually. But we may be able to find portions of the meeting where we'll either make that immediately available or do Zoom that portion. For example, if there's a presentation or something, we'll look to do that. So we're continuing to look at how we can bring opportunities for voices into the room, knowing that there are just some limitations in how we design those sessions to make it meaningful for those folks that are able to participate, and then share back out what happens. Regarding training, whether it's mandatory or optional, oftentimes our trainings, if you're asking about staff specifically, we do a combination of mandatory and optional training sessions, and so with this particular topic or any topic of priority, we do schedule time that's mandatory for staff, and then often we make available optional opportunities for further exploration or learning. So I would say it's a combination, and that's just generally speaking as well. And then I'm not sure if maybe I'll pass it back to you and make sure I didn't.
And it's like a perfect transition, because I think the mandatory question was about the board. And so just to give a beat, and I'm going to actually ping it over to Abby in a minute too. I've spent 2 months having conversations probably every single day with every single community member that wanted to talk, wanted to engage. Some people just wanted to engage via email. Some people wanted to talk. Some people wanted to meet. And I've opened up my homes for them. I've also done the exact same thing for every single board member, because every single board member at this table, even though we don't always agree on things, we are always trying to move this district forward so we make sure all of our kids are taken care of and that we are doing it in the best way possible. So we need that feedback from the community. We have heard the community, we will continue to listen to the community, and we'll continue this work. But at the same time, I want to assure every single person out there that every single one of the people up here at this table is willing and able to listen, to be open to conversations, to go to trainings, and to be there because we care about our kids and we care about all of our kids. So when we come to the table and we come to these community conversations, we hope that the people in here, the people that are watching online, and the people that are on Zoom that are feeling very hurt, very upset, and very fearful will come to the table with us, will meet us in those community settings, and have an open dialogue. I know this is really hard, but I can tell you from all of my conversations that every single one of the 9 board members is open, ready to listen, ready to learn, and ready to protect our kids and all of our kids. So I want to ensure everyone of that, and I feel very proud of the work that we have done to get here and the work that we're going to continue to do. Abby, I know that you've been doing listening sessions too after the policy conversation, and I know you wanted to bring this into the policy update earlier, so I'm going to ping it back to you for that moment.
Thank you. So I prepared something to say because I just work better that way, and I was going to speak kind of after the policy update, so time traveled. Good evening. I'd like to provide an update about my work on the policy committee, but before I do, I need to address the anti-Semitic remarks made against the Jewish community on September 6, 2024, and again on September 16, 2024 at this board table. These remarks ignore the anti-Semitism that has existed in our country and has more recently skyrocketed into a national crisis since October 7, 2023. Let us all affirm and reaffirm that we as a community, not only as a school district, but as the community at large, stand against every kind of hatred, including anti-Semitism. At the same time, we cannot let these statements overly distract us from the very important work that members of this board and our community must engage in to fulfill our mission as a school district. Over the past month and a half, well, 2 months, I've spent time speaking with many neighbors and residents to learn more about equity in LMSD. I want to thank those who I've spoken to for their openness and encourage anyone I haven't yet met to reach out, whether it's to me or someone else on the board. These conversations strengthen our community, and while we have much work ahead, I'm inspired by the willingness of others to share their experiences, by the resilience of our community, and most of all, by our shared goal of ensuring that all LMSD students receive the best education possible, including those with the greatest needs. These conversations also demonstrate an urgency for action around goal setting and measurement regarding the achievement gap in Lower Merion School District. I was elected as a Lower Merion School Director by the voters of Lower Merion and Narberth, and in my role, I have the duty to ask questions regarding the progress of our own programs, as well as the fiduciary responsibility to monitor the expenses of the district and its programs. We have spent time and energy revising the language of the equity policy. Let's shift our focus and agree on setting benchmarks that demonstrate the efficacy of this work and move us closer to our objectives. Going forward, tonight we have that opportunity. Let's talk to one another respectfully, without fear of asking questions, and craft policies that are the best they can be for our students, all of our students, our educators, and our community. Thank you. And I have copies to be included into the minutes of the meeting, please.
Thank you. So now thank you, Mr. Ruse, earlier for finalizing that. At this time, we will move forward with approving tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve all of the items listed in the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Mr. Ruse, will you now make a public announcement about the Sunshine Act, the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act?
Yes, the board did meet in executive session earlier tonight regarding confidential personnel matters.
Thank you, everyone. Just a reminder, we have a lot of meetings coming up. November 1st, policy is at 9 a.m. It will be in the general board meeting room. November 11th is curriculum at 7 p.m., the same room. November 13th, equity and anti-racism meeting. Committee meeting, November 14th, facilities and purchasing, that is at 12 o'clock via Zoom, and November 18th, the regular business board meeting, 7 p.m. in the regular board meeting. And with that, we are adjourned.